In this video, we'll be continuing our study of Bayes' rule. We're going to revisit our video game tournament problem and then talk about the general framework for Bayes' theorem or Bayes' rule. So this is the setup from the video game tournament from a few videos back. We had three types of players, type 1, type 2, type 3, and this is what we thought the population consisted of. So we had our type 1 was 1/2, type 2 was 0.25, and type 3 was 0.25 as well. So those were our prior beliefs about what the tournament population was composed of. And then we had historical data that said, given you see a type 1 player, you win with 0.3 probability, same with type 2, and then same with type 3. And then we computed if just overall win probability, you don't know what type they are, what's the overall probability that you'll have for winning, and that was 0.375. And that was using the total probability theorem. What we are going to ask now is to practice our Bayes rule. So we're going to ask, okay, given you won, what's the probability that you face a type 1 opponent? And we're going to compare it to these quantities as well. So in either case, you're always winning. And given that you won a game, and I'm going to ask you, don't tell me, I'm going to guess what type of player that you played. Okay, so how we do so is to compute using Bayes rules. So I'll do it for one of them, but then it's all the same. So this is probability type 1 times probability W given type 1. So notice again the Bayes rule is it kind of has that flipped flavor in it. Okay, and then this was 1/2, this was 3/10, and then this was 0.375. And if you plug that all in, I believe you get 0.40. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. If you do the same thing for both those quantities, I believe you get 0.26 or 27 and then 0.33 repeated. So overall, they seem to be correct because note that they form a proper probability distribution, meaning conditioned on W. If you take the partition of all the events, they still add up to 1. So that's good. That's just kind of taking this drawing here. We have, if W is our whole universe now, then the probability on W should be 1. So do a little coloring. And then furthermore, one thing I really like to point out is that this is a little unintuitive, the result. Meaning, if you said you won, so given you won, I would guess that you played a T3 because you have a really great win rate against those T3s. So you tell me you win, I'd say, well, you usually beat T3 players, type T3 players, so if you tell me you win, I'm going to guess that you played a type 3. So I would have guessed that this was the highest. However, there's some competing quantities at play here, primarily that T3 only makes up 1/4 of the population. So if you didn't tell me at all that you won or lost, and you just said, guess what kind of player this is, you just showed me a random player and guess what kind of player they are, I would guess T1 because they make up 1/2 of the population compared to T3, which only makes up 1/4. So there's some competing quantities at play. So even though your success rate against T1 is pretty low, 0.3, the fact that they make up so much of the population overcompensates for that and ends up being that given you win, this is still the most likely event. So given you 1, the probability that you face a T1 is highest of the other 2 types of players. Notice that this is the second highest, so it's not far off. Especially consider that these 2 types have the same level in the population. But I did want to point out it's kind of an unintuitive result, but when we try to reason about it with those quantities at play, it seems to make a little bit more sense. And again, that's because type 1 has the most in the prior in the population. So even though you have the least success winning against them, that the fact that they're half the population overcompensates for that. Okay. Now for the general framework for Bayes' rule, or Bayes' inference, Bayes' theorem, is that we have what they call the priors, or the prior probabilities. And what's nice for some people, and for other people they despise it, is that you get to interject some of your beliefs, whether that's based on past data, past experience, subject expert knowledge, or just your beliefs. You can infuse that into this model here. So you have some prior experience that says it's going to rain, or it's going to be windy, or the waves are going to be good, or any type of thing that has some sort of prediction in it. And then what we want to know, well, I shouldn't say we want to know yet. I'll say we'll observe. Oops. We observe some data, and that's really event B. And then we want to recalculate our prior, and this is called the posterior. And it's basically updating after data has occurred or has been collected. So we may have had some prior belief, and now we're asking, okay, now that we've seen this data, what is that belief now? And so if we want to compute this, we can compute this using Bayes' rule, which is probably AI times probability B given AI. So again, like another flipping, if you see as, and then the sum, j equals 1 through n, or it could be infinite as well. So it doesn't have to be a finite number of partitions, it could be infinite. We have that. So that's the general framework. I know I talked in a lot of abstractions and vagueness here, but if you care to learn more, just look up Bayesian inference or Bayesian statistics. It's used quite often in modern machine learning and AI, so it's worth getting to understand. And it does have a fundamentally different flavor than what they call frequentist statistics or traditional. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.